Hello, HSE professionals. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we are tackling a critical aspect of workplace safety, emergency response planning. In any organization, preparing for emergencies is crucial to ensuring the safety and well-being of employees, minimizing damage to property, and maintaining business continuity. Whether you are new to emergency response planning or looking to enhance your existing practices, this video will provide a comprehensive, step-by-step guide to creating an effective emergency response plan. We will cover everything from identifying potential emergencies and assessing risks to developing response procedures and conducting drills. Let's get started. Step 1. Understand the importance of emergency response planning. Before diving into the specifics of emergency response planning, it's essential to understand why this process is so crucial. Emergencies can take many forms, including natural disasters, fires, chemical spills, medical emergencies, and security threats. Having a well-structured emergency response plan in place helps organizations respond quickly and effectively, reducing the risk of injury, minimizing damage, and ensuring a coordinated response. A robust emergency response plan not only protects employees and assets, but also helps organizations comply with legal and regulatory requirements. Moreover, it demonstrates a commitment to safety and preparedness, which can enhance the organization's reputation and foster a culture of safety among employees. Step 2. Identify potential emergencies. The first step in developing an emergency response plan is to identify the types of emergencies that could potentially impact your organization. This involves conducting a thorough assessment of internal and external factors that could lead to an emergency situation. Begin by reviewing historical data on past incidents, both within your organization and in similar industries. Analyze records of accidents, near misses, and other emergencies to identify patterns and recurring issues. Additionally, consider the geographical location of your facility, as this can influence the likelihood of certain natural disasters, such as earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes. Next, consult with key stakeholders, including employees, management, and local emergency services, to gather insights and perspectives on potential emergencies. This collaborative approach ensures that all possible scenarios are considered and that the emergency response plan is comprehensive. Step 3. Conduct a risk assessment. Once potential emergencies have been identified, the next step is to conduct a risk assessment to evaluate the likelihood and potential impact of each scenario. This process helps prioritize the emergencies that pose the greatest threat and require the most attention in the emergency response plan. Begin by listing each potential emergency and assessing its probability of occurrence. Consider factors such as historical data, geographical location, industry-specific risks, and changes in the operating environment. Assign a probability rating to each emergency. Next, evaluate the potential impact of each emergency on your organization. Consider factors such as the potential for injury or loss of life, damage to property and equipment, environmental impact, disruption to operations, and financial losses. Assign an impact rating to each emergency. Combine the probability and impact ratings to determine the overall risk level for each emergency. This can be done using a risk matrix, which helps visualize and prioritize the emergencies that require the most attention. Focus on developing detailed response plans for high-risk emergencies, while also considering appropriate measures for lower-risk scenarios. Step 4. Develop emergency response procedures. With the risk assessment complete, the next step is to develop specific response procedures for each identified emergency. These procedures should outline the actions to be taken before, during, and after an emergency to ensure a coordinated and effective response. Emergency notification and communication. Effective communication is critical during an emergency. Develop procedures for notifying employees, emergency services, and other relevant stakeholders of an emergency situation. This may include activating alarm systems, sending mass notifications via email or text messages, and using public address systems. Ensure that communication channels are accessible and reliable, even during power outages or other disruptions. Evacuation and shelter in place. For emergencies that require evacuation or sheltering in place, develop clear procedures for both scenarios. Identify evacuation routes, assembly points, and safe areas within the facility. Ensure that evacuation routes are clearly marked and free of obstructions. Conduct regular drills to familiarize employees with evacuation procedures and ensure that they can evacuate safely and efficiently. For shelter-in-place scenarios, identify safe areas within the facility where employees can take refuge. These areas should be equipped with necessary supplies, such as water, food, first aid kits, and communication devices. Develop procedures for sealing off the shelter-in-place areas to protect against hazards such as chemical spills or airborne contaminants. Roles and responsibilities. Clearly define the roles and responsibilities of employees, emergency response teams, and management during an emergency. Assign specific tasks to individuals and teams, such as coordinating evacuations, providing first aid, managing communication, and liaising with emergency services. Ensure that all employees are aware of their roles and responsibilities and provide training as needed. First aid and medical response. Develop procedures for providing first aid and medical response during an emergency. Ensure that first aid kits are readily available and that employees are trained in basic first aid and CPR. Identify employees with advanced medical training who can provide additional support during an emergency. Establish relationships with local medical facilities and emergency services to ensure prompt medical assistance when needed. Hazard-specific procedures. For each identified emergency, develop hazard-specific response procedures. For example, for a chemical spill, outline steps for containing the spill, protecting employees, and notifying emergency services. For a fire, outline steps for activating the alarm, evacuating the building, and using fire extinguishers. Ensure that these procedures are detailed, practical, and easy to follow. Step 5. Develop a business continuity plan. In addition to immediate emergency response procedures, it's essential to develop a business continuity plan to ensure that your organization can continue operating or quickly resume operations after an emergency. This plan should address critical functions, resources, and processes that are necessary to maintain business operations. Identify critical functions. Begin by identifying the critical functions and processes that are essential for your organization to operate. These may include production, supply chain management, customer service, IT systems, and financial operations. Determine the minimum resources and personnel required to maintain these functions. Develop contingency plans. Develop contingency plans for maintaining critical functions during and after an emergency. This may include establishing backup locations, implementing remote work arrangements, securing alternative suppliers, and developing data backup and recovery procedures. Ensure that contingency plans are practical and can be implemented quickly. Establish recovery priorities. Establish recovery priorities for restoring operations after an emergency. Determine which functions and processes need to be restored first and develop a timeline for recovery. Ensure that recovery priorities are aligned with the overall goals and objectives of your organization. Test and update the plan. Regularly test and update your business continuity plan to ensure that it remains effective and relevant. Conduct drills and simulations to evaluate the plan's effectiveness and identify areas for improvement. Update the plan based on lessons learned from drills and actual emergencies. Step 6. Conduct training and drills. Training and drills are essential for ensuring that employees are prepared to respond effectively during an emergency. Develop a comprehensive training program that covers all aspects of your emergency response plan. Employee training. Provide training to all employees on emergency response procedures, including evacuation routes, shelter-in-place procedures, first aid, and communication protocols. Ensure that training is practical and includes hands-on exercises. Offer refresher training regularly to reinforce knowledge and skills. Emergency response team training. Provide specialized training for members of the emergency response team. This may include advanced first aid and CPR, hazardous materials handling, fire suppression, and incident command. Ensure that team members are confident in their roles and responsibilities and can respond effectively during an emergency. Conduct drills. Conduct regular drills to test your emergency response plan and ensure that employees are familiar with procedures. Drills should include a variety of scenarios, such as fires, chemical spills, medical emergencies, and natural disasters. Evaluate the effectiveness of each drill and use the feedback to improve your emergency response plan. Step 7. Review and update the emergency response plan. Emergency response planning is an ongoing process that requires regular review and updates. Schedule regular reviews of your emergency response plan to ensure that it remains current and effective. Incorporate lessons learned. Incorporate lessons learned from drills, actual emergencies, and feedback from employees into your emergency response plan. Identify areas for improvement and make necessary changes to procedures, training, and resources. Update contact information. Regularly update contact information for employees, emergency response team members, local emergency services, and other relevant stakeholders. Ensure that communication channels are functional and reliable. Review regulatory requirements. Stay informed about changes to legal and regulatory requirements related to emergency response planning. Ensure that your emergency response plan complies with all applicable regulations and standards. Step 8. Engage with the community and emergency services. Engaging with the local community and emergency services is an important aspect of emergency response planning. Building strong relationships with these stakeholders can enhance your organization's preparedness and response capabilities. Collaborate with emergency services. Establish relationships with local emergency services, including fire departments, police, and medical facilities. Invite them to participate in your drills and training exercises. Share your emergency response plan with them and seek their input and feedback. Engage with the community. Engage with the local community to build awareness and support for your emergency response plan. Participate in community events and forums to share information about your organization's preparedness efforts. Collaborate with neighboring businesses and organizations to enhance mutual aid and support during emergencies. Developing an effective emergency response plan is essential for ensuring the safety and well-being of employees, minimizing damage to property, and maintaining business continuity. By following these steps, understanding the importance of emergency response planning, identifying potential emergencies, conducting a risk assessment, developing response procedures, creating a business continuity plan, conducting training and drills, reviewing and updating the plan, and engaging with the community and emergency services, you can create a comprehensive and effective emergency response plan. Thank you for watching our video on how to do emergency response planning. We hope you found this information valuable and practical for your workplace. Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Visit our website, hsebox.com, for more resources and insights on health, safety, and environmental management. Let us know in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover next. Stay safe and see you in the next video.